Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Peerada. I'm calling from Los Angeles and I'm 28 years old.
And what do you do for work out in LA, Peerada?
I'm here as an actor. I used to have a day job, but I quit recently.
Okay. And what was that day job that you quit recently?
I was working at the front desk of a membership club. I was full time, and we were getting paid $21 an hour.
Okay. So you're making about $42,000 a year, basically. Okay. And how long ago did you quit that job?
July 7th.
And what caused you to quit?
It was a very toxic workplace.
What have you been doing, I guess, since July 7th? I guess we're about a month and a half after that.
Yeah. So I've just been auditioning and acting. I've never really had the chance to just do the thing that I love. I've always was helping my parents out with their business and working 2 part-time jobs or 2 full-time jobs. And so it's been nice just kind of getting a break to do what I love and resetting a little bit. I'm also recovering from a blood clot. So, yeah, just taking some time for myself. I have had some income come in though with auditions and booking certain things. So I'm very grateful for that. But savings are running low, interests on credit card, so I am really trying to figure out what I want to do with my life financially and how to become more financially literate, especially as an actor. My schedule is not as flexible as other Americans or other people, so I need to find a workplace that works with my life and career.
So quit this job July 7th. You've been auditioning, doing some acting gigs since then. What's your income looking like right now per month?
It depends and varies, of course, on what I end up booking, but I just did a really big project with a big company. I'll just say that I signed an NDA, and I got $6,000 out of that. But I have to pay 20% to my agent, 20% to my manager, because right now I'm non-union, so I'm not part of the union. I support the strikes all the way, but because I'm not part of the union yet, those commission rates are higher. I believe when you're union, it's 10%. So a lot of that money is going towards that. And then taxes are, getting cut out. So, and I still haven't received the full check. So I don't even know how much I actually ended up getting. I got some of it already. And that's kind of the main reason why I haven't looked for another job, because I've had some money coming in. But my deadline was always that by September 1st, I would start looking for jobs. So my resume's been updated. I just kind of need to sit down and actually submit and find a job now. But that's kind of where I'm at financially. I do have more clawbacks, so I might get more money. It really depends.
Okay. So one, congrats, big gig. The downside of that is I didn't realize that the commissions fees for agents and managers was going to eat up 40% of that, and then you got taxes to take up another 25%, basically 40% of that towards the agent and managers, which is a lot, and then you got probably another 25% you're in California going to state income taxes, basically, depending on tax bracket. But being a contractor, you have to account for that. Still probably a $2,700 check after the dust settles, which is great, but not as much as initially looks to be with a $6,000 project. So really interesting just to kind of understand some of that, the ins and outs of the acting. But yeah, you said you had a deadline of September 1st for finding a new job, and that deadline is 4 hours from now.
Yeah.
I guess you're West Coast, so it's 7 hours for you.
Yeah, I have some more time on my end. Yes, resume's updated. I got approval. I live at home with my parents still, so my expenses are quite low right now. And I'm very grateful and taking the opportunity to take this time to save and reset. Anyways, I just got approval from both my parents. They're like, yeah, the resume looks great. Go ahead and submit. I think I'm really interested in finding something that might be a work from home job, so there is more flexibility on my end, or perhaps like something that's totally in the evenings, which is what I was doing beforehand, working from 2 p.m. to 10:30. That way I have time to do auditions in the morning and then be able to go to work at night. But I don't know. I've been doing customer service pretty much my whole life since I was a teen, and it's not a flexible job. It is in some cases, but it's hard to get shifts covered and switched and all of that. Everyone has a life. Everyone has something they want to do. And so I want to be less reliant on a schedule and be able to kind of curate something for myself, which is why I was like, should I start my own business so that way I can make my own schedule? But then that would be more money and more time. And so I'm really at this kind of cross point path in my life where I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do, because I take a lot of pride in my work. Whether it be acting or not acting. Like when I was at my other job, in the 2.5 years I was there, we went through 8 different managers, and I was the most senior, so I had to train everyone. And I was chosen to train these new managers by the upper management because of my knowledge and experience, but they never considered me for a promotion because I would always ask for 6-hour shifts or try to cover, and because I would have a shoot or things like that. And I get it. It's hard on their end too. They need a reliable employee. But I know my worth and skills, and I know I take a lot of pride in my work, and I'm a hard worker. So I am really trying to figure out what's the right step. I don't think there is a right answer. I just got to feel it out and find the right opportunity for me. But I am looking for something that is flexible and at least matches my pay rate or is higher than what I had before. Yeah.
Makes sense. And want you to obviously trying to pursue the acting career, want to continue to do that. And I'm all for finding a job that kind of fits best of both worlds, where it allows you to pursue the acting career, but also gives you a stable, sustainable income as well. Obviously, there's got to be some give and take, and we'll kind of dive into your financial situation, because depending on the financial situation, you have to probably give more on one side than the other. But we'll kind of talk through some of those different things, and excited to kind of hear your journey, and hopefully we can do a catch up in a few months too, and understand where you're at in terms of the job, in terms of the acting stuff, and in terms of overall finances. But job market obviously is a competitive one these days. There's a lot of people looking for jobs, and my one piece of advice is don't just put your eye on one single job. You got to be applying in dozens and dozens every single week just to try to get your name out there, because there's a lot of people looking for jobs, and a lot of companies have cut back a lot of open jobs, a lot of hiring. So, but also don't want you to be in a toxic environment.
Yeah, no, I was overworked and underpaid, and it was a lot mentally and emotionally. So
how long were you in that
piece
company for?
2.5 years. So I was there when they reopened after COVID, and then before I knew it, I was 8 managers in, and I was like, I'm never being considered for a promotion. I'm basically working in every department. I'm doing like 24 steps a day. I'm doing overtime. I'm tired. It was like affecting my acting career, my personal life. And ultimately I just quit. And I thought they said that they weren't going to give me a rush exit, because at the time I was still recovering from my blood clot. And I put in my 2 weeks written via email, and they were like, actually, don't come in. You don't have to come in next week. You're good to go. And I was like, well, F you guys. So bye.
Let's talk about your current financial situation, because we've heard the story now of quitting a job, up and going in July, acting stuff right now, have some different stuff underway. The current financial situation, scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself, from a 1 being horrific to 10 being?
I give myself an average 5. I put myself right in the middle. I feel like growing up from an immigrant family, money is like very much at the forefront of our mind, like to hustle and to make it in this country. But I also know that I have been a little bit sheltered by living at home with my parents and not having to pay for bills and rent and whatnot, which I had a lot of weird complex about being 28 and not having a bill to my name. But I don't know, it's so different in Thai culture, where like if you get married, you move in with your in-laws, or they move in with you, so everything is just so more collective and shared. And so, when the pandemic happened, I gave all my savings to my parents because we have a business and we need to pay rent, so I ended up just starting from square one. And so I'm really trying to, my goal is to move out. My goal is to be more financially aware. And yeah, so I think I'm at a 5. I'm self-aware, but I don't think I really know what steps I need to take or yeah.
Okay. And so on that, when it comes to financial picture, what current debts do you have right now?
So I'm very lucky. I have no student debt. I got a full ride, so I'm chill there. I also have no car debt. My parents bought a car for me for as a graduation gift, so that no debt there. I just have credit card debt. I was stupid one year. Was like, oh, I got money from a gig. I went shopping and then forgot about interest and all this stuff. And yeah, and so it's just been racking up. It's always gone down and then it's gone up. So I'm trying to get it back down.
How long has this credit card debt been going on for?
I would say about 2 years.
2 years. And what was the peak balance it's hit? And what's the current balance?
The current balance is 3,152, I believe. I think the highest I ever got in was like 3,900.
Basically paying the minimum payments or a little bit here and there on top of that for the last 2 years, and it's just kind of sitting around that $3,000 mark.
Well, the thing is, I paid more than the minimum. I would do like $100 payments, $200 payments. But because of my money comes in and out so much as an actor, I've had to savings were gone. And then I had to use my credit card. And so it just kind of started to slowly rack back up to now this amount to 3,152. I just paid 200 towards it so anytime, I don't know if this is the right way, Bailey, you tell me, but anytime I get money, especially because I'm not contributing towards rent or anything like that, I put it towards my credit card debt so it goes down as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Great.
When you have credit card debt, every single dollar that you can have, whether it's selling something in the closet or it's going to pick up an extra shift the second you get that in, and it's anything that's over the necessities, you be throwing that at the credit card debt, because at 20-something interest rates, it just continues to climb. You just pay the minimum payments. It's going to take you 10 to 15 years to pay it off.
Right.
But you have a high balance on it, and just adding extra $100, $200, $300 a month can help you pay that down drastically. So everything that you have that you can throw at it is definitely the goal. So what are your current assets you have? Savings, investments, retirement accounts?
0. I don't have any savings. I have $30 in my savings right now because all of that got transferred into credit card debt or into my own checking account.
13 or 30?
30.
30, okay.
And then I am part of the Dream Act program, which means I don't really collect like benefits or anything like that. I don't know if I can get a 401k. I think I can. I'm not too sure, but basically as a dreamer, I'm able to apply for a work permit every 2 years, and I have a social security card, but that does not give me benefits or anything. It just allows me to apply for work and to get a driver's license and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure how the Dream Act applies towards investing or towards 401ks. I would presume you should have the ability to still do 401ks. Don't quote me on that. So
don't worry.
Let's see if I can do a quick Google search real quick.
It's not something I've ever really thought about because, I mean, yeah.
So it does say if you're a dreamer and a DACA holder, you have the ability to invest and save for retirement. That's especially true if your employer participates in a 401k.
Okay.
As long as you have a social security number, you have the ability to open a brokerage account and save and invest in retirement.
Good to know.
I'll send you this link to after this so you can check it out and learn more.
Yeah.
But currently we're at square zero basically in terms of investments, savings, got $3,000 worth of credit card debt. And so how long has this been going on? You said during COVID, you helped your parents out with the business, so you gave them some of your savings. Since then, has your savings ever gone up, or has it kind of just been pulling around zero for the last 2 years, 3 years?
No, it went up, especially when I was working at a day job. We weren't getting paid bi-weekly too, or getting paid weekly, which was so nice. My savings back then were like up to $3,000. And I really thought I had this shot of like, for me in my head, $10,000 is like what I want to save up to move out. I don't know why that's number, but it is. So I really thought I was getting there, but then I ended up quitting this job and my blood clot healed around the same time. So I couldn't go on disability. And I didn't want to go on unemployment because I still work as an actor. So it was just a weird place for me. So I ended up just taking the savings, put 2,000 into my checking, put 1,000 into the credit card debt. But then of course the credit card debt went back up because the savings went down. So I'm just I go back and forth so much. And yeah.
So I've been back and forth, and it's good to have a goal to move out too, because you don't want to move out when you have $30 to your name and $3,000 of credit card debt, because how are you going to afford rent? Especially right now you don't have a full-time stable income. Not a good spot to put yourself in to move out and do that. So take advantage of that situation and let's figure out a plan to save up and get a stable, consistent paying job so you can move out on your own if that's something you want to do.
Right.
So college, you said you had a full ride to college. What did you study in college?
I got a double major at UC Santa Barbara in theater Bachelor of Fine Arts and then sociology Bachelor of Arts.
So long-term career goals, using your degree or not using a degree, I'm assuming acting is really the long-term goal.
Yeah, it's my dream to actually open up an incubator for BIPOC artists. I think there are so many ways for you to become a doctor and to become a lawyer, and I think art and entertainment are so important to society, and it can really catalyze social movement and social change. And so, yeah, I want to be able to open up a place where kids from the age of 13 all the way up to like 35 can come and take producing classes, can take acting classes, can take script courses, and we would help them get internships and help give them paths. And that way there are more BIPOC people behind and in front of the screen. So that's my dream. But in order to do that, I need to have some sort of name, some sort of money behind me. So I'm kind of slowly trying to build my brand. And this is why I've always thought about opening up my own business, because that's already something that's my dream already. So, but I don't know what kind of business to open, and something that would make me profit, but still give me time to do acting. And again, a lot in my head.
Yep. I mean, that's great career goals and something that, hey, let's figure out a plan. How can you get to that? Obviously, it's going to take a lot of building your own career in the entertainment space. And it's going to take a lot of money too, to be able to have an incubator, to be able to do a lot of these things. But it's not far-fetched. I mean, the land of opportunity in America is amazing. People can create businesses, start businesses and do well and be able to succeed. So there's the opportunity there is now, hey, how do you get yourself set up for that with building yourself financially stably so that you can do things, build your own career, so then you can also start doing other things like starting a business as well. So, because we're also running a business, if you're trying to run a business, it's also hard to do on the side if you have other things. So if you're trying to run and scale a true business, it's difficult to do that. And so let's talk about your financial upbringing. So talk to you about money much growing up? Never?
I mean, yes, we talked about money, but I think money was always seen very negatively. Like, we don't have enough money for bills. We don't have money for groceries. We don't, and then my parents are, what's the word I'm looking for? They enjoy the finer things in life. They've always had this mentality of work hard, play hard. Yes, we make money and we put it towards what we need to, but they would always want to take a trip to Vegas. They always want to buy new shoes or things like that. And so I think that's kind of affected the way I looked at money. And I, like, my parents never sat me down, taught me like, hey, we got to get a credit card or, none of that. Like, my ex told me to open up a credit card and like made me do it. He was like, you need to start building credit. You're 26 years old. What are you doing? So no, not really. But I mean, I think if I were to go up to them and talk to them, they would give me advice, but it's not really something that's normalized. I think especially in Asian culture too.
It's certainly not normalized. I mean, anywhere in the world, especially in America. I mean, it's just not talked enough about at home. It's just a uncomfortable situation. Parents don't want to be open and transparent with their kids, but also this not being open and transparent, it hurts the kids from ever learning. And first time they learn things is when they're adults and they make bad decisions, and In your instance, your ex tells you to get a credit card. Now you find yourself with $3,000 worth of credit card debt. So we got the ex to thank for that.
No. He was like, you got to treat it like a debit card. Only use it for gas. Turn on automatic payments in full, so it feels like a debit card. And I was doing that. Then I got money from a gig, and I was like, oh, let me go shopping. It was around Christmas time too, and then
I retract my statement. It was not your ex's fault. Then he
no,
told you to spend on the debit card and do.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, just not the right person for me, unfortunately.
So, parents like to work hard, play hard. Sounds like you like to do that too. You got some money from a gig and decided to go blow it all. Let's talk about your current monthly expenses then. Sitting over this budget, we'll kind of run through it. Rent right now, you're living at home, so you have no rent. No car payment. Are you paying car insurance or are your parents paying that right now?
My parents.
Do you know how much that is a month?
No.
Okay. What kind of car do you drive?
BMW X1.
Nice car. What year is it?
2020.
So I'm assuming the insurance on that is not cheap.
No.
Then you got gas, $140 a month. Question, is the car financed or do they buy cash?
It's financed. This year will be the last year for payments, and then we'll be done.
You know what the car payment is a month?
I believe it's around, let me think, I just talked to my mom. 200? I don't, actually, no, don't quote me. I'm not sure, Bailey.
I'll project to be a little bit higher since it's a BMW 2020.
Yeah, probably, I don't know. I feel so bad. I don't know.
Hey, that's a conversation you have with your mother after this and find out what it is. And my goal is just, hey, want you to just understand the ins and outs of your own financial situation, because if you don't understand it, it's hard to make change, hard to understand where you're at with everything. And it's very generous that your parents have purchased that car and been paying for it, but also just understanding where your financial situation would be in case that they came to you one day and said, hey, we can't afford to pay this anymore.
One mile.
So gas, $140, groceries, $300 a month. So total necessities between gas and groceries, it's all we got really right there is $440. We got subscriptions. You put $200 a month.
Yeah, I have subscriptions to like casting sites, not really Netflix and stuff.
Okay.
So that's what I put it under. Yeah.
Are you documenting that separately from your personal expenses? Because being a independent contractor, you just make sure you're separating those things so you can talk to an accountant when it comes to tax.
Yes.
Say, hey, these are my business expenses for my active.
Yes. So because my mom owns a business, I have their accountant do my taxes for me hella cheap because they're very nice. And I try to keep as much receipts as possible, like gas, makeup, clothes, headshots, casting sites.
Yeah, just make sure you're documenting and keeping those separate. And what I like doing is making sure you, frankly, have like a separate bank account for it, just so it's easier. Yeah, even under the same bank, there's no reason to have to set up an LLC necessarily starting out, but if you just open up a separate checking account under that same bank that you're with, and then you run all your transactions on the debit card on that account, that way you can just download the transactions from that account at the end of the year versus having to go pick through every single transaction between shopping on the personal side as well as on the work side. It just makes it a lot easier and cleaner. So something to think about.
No, it's great. I never knew why people open like multiple banking accounts. I'm like, I get it if you need like a business and a personal.
And in theory, being an independent contractor, you are a business. And
yeah,
people are hiring you as a work for hire opportunity, and you're a business, you have business expenses with that, and you need to make sure you're just separating that out so it doesn't get intertwined when it comes to expenses. Because if you wait till April of next year to try to go back and find your transactions, you're going to be sifting through hundreds of transactions that have nothing to do with the current stuff, and you might not know what is what. So a little advice there. Eating out, $300 a month. Entertainment, $300 a month. Do you like spending money on entertainment? What did you put that for?
I go to concerts quite a lot.
Concerts, okay. Health and fitness, $100. Personal care, $150. So that brings our total fund money to $1,050, which brings your total expenses to just under $1,500 a month. Has this changed? Go ahead.
I would say yes, especially since not working, which is why I had asked you earlier, like, how do I fill this out? Because I was trying to look at my past like 30 days of transactions and kind of see what I had been spending and trying to like roughly add up, and match it to different categories. So I feel like this isn't as accurate as I think it is because I'm not going to concerts anymore, and I'm
You think this is high?
yes, I think this is high. Even with, and there's no freaking rent in here. How am I supposed to add another rent in LA 1,600 plus? Like this does not make sense. The math is not mathing.
So I have a question for you.
Ask what it.
Do you ever budget your money? Do you have a budget? Do you use a platform or an app or Excel sheets, or have you ever looked at your bank statements in your life?
I have never really budgeted. I've always just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just spent how I felt, if that makes sense, because I've been lucky of living at home and not being able to have expenses and things like that. But now that I'm getting older, now that I want my own space, I want my own agency, I'm really trying to figure out, like, what do I need to do, But the problem for me is I feel like I go back to all the same habits of like, oh, I try to, cook and meal prep to save money. But then I get slammed with like 5 auditions that week, and then I don't end up actually eating the food that I cooked, and I end up buying out instead because I had a tough day of filming tapes and I think I deserve something, or I get peer pressured very easily. I'm gonna be honest. As soon as a friend says, let's go out for a drink or something like that, I find ways to justify it very easily. Again, going back to that mentality of I think I've always worked hard, play hard. I don't think that's a very healthy thing, though. I think as I'm getting older, I've learned that I overcompensate a lot as a worker and as a human being, and now I feel like it's like bleeding into my financial life and other aspects. And so yeah, I'm really trying to like be more aware of myself in all aspects, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, and all of that.
Okay. Understand that working and stuff, you're like meal prep, then you want to go out to eat. I'm in the worst mood ever when I'm hungry, and I'm like, the only thing I want to do is just not cook in the time. And so I definitely feel that. And when friends ask you to do things, but also you need to put yourself first too in a lot of situations. And when you got a lot of credit card debt, if you're prioritizing going out to eat, getting drinks over the paying off the credit card debt, you're prioritizing your short-term satisfaction over your long-term just growth, financial health and everything. So my first reaction to this budget, $1,500 a month, is not much in expenses. My guess is this is going to be low and that your actual expenses are higher because you said you had this about $3,000 worth of credit card debt for the last 2 years. And at your previous job, if you were making $21 an hour, 40 hours a week, we account for about 20% in tax on that, you should have been bringing home probably about $2,900, somewhere between $2,600 and $2,900. And if you've been living at home and your expenses are only $1,500 a month, that means there's $1,300 that's not being spent. And that's obviously not the case right now with $30 in your bank account and $3,000 on the credit card. So my guess, we're going to dive into monthly transactions and we're going to see stuff that will explain that this is not where your budget currently is. I mentioned to see, since you quit your job in July, kind of how your spending has been the last 30 days, because that would be frankly a little concerning if it hasn't slowed down without having any income. But we'll kind of talk about what can we do there. What should we prioritize? When it comes to budgeting, it's something that, in my opinion, everyone needs to do, because if you just kind of walk through life without a plan, without being intentional about your money, you never know where it goes. And right now, that's how you're operating, is it comes and it goes, and you don't really know where or when, because you don't track it. And if you're not tracking it, you're never going to actually know where it's going, what to spend your money on. You're not going to know how much money you spend on different things that, quite frankly, might shock you. And if you use a different platform or an app to budget, you might look and say, oh, I spent $500 shopping last month on Amazon. Why did I do that? And the next month, you're going to be a lot more mindful of that. Or,
right.
Okay, maybe I don't need to eat out this week. If you want to become financially literate, if you want to build financial freedom, wealth, stability, and you try to do that without tracking it or measuring it or having a plan, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to lose weight without a plan. It's very difficult to become an NFL quarterback without a rigorous training plan. It's very difficult to become an actor without a training plan, with classes and with just having a plan of action and how to learn and educate yourself. So same thing with money. It's very difficult to get out of debt without a plan and tracking it. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and dive into all these different transactions you sent over. And I have, how many different screenshots do we have? We've got 12 screenshots. So it looks like a lot of transactions. I see some on the credit card, someone on the debit card. See, the credit card is still being spent because you feel like the credit card, frankly, what I tell people is if you have credit card debt, if you have a balance, if you ever carry a balance on the credit card, you should not be a credit card person. Same thing that your ex said is, if you use a credit card, have to use it and pay it off every single month. Otherwise, you're paying $70, $80, $100 a month in interest when you start carrying a balance, no rewards can ever be worth paying interest on a credit card. They don't offer you rewards at 20% interest rates. They offer you rewards at 2%. So it's like you're just giving them money. They're winning. That's why credit card companies make a lot of money, is because of the credit card debt. They're charging 20 to 30% interest rates on it. Credit card debt hit $1 trillion in America this past month. And frankly, credit card companies love that, because that means they're making a lot more money, because people are carrying their balances month over month. They're accruing a lot more interest and they're making a lot more money. So credit cards, what I would like to do is figure out, one, you need to probably have, it's very difficult to cancel a credit card when you have $30 in your bank account. And part of that would actually make you just stop spending money, which probably would be a good thing, to just get rid of this credit card tomorrow. If you just literally cut it up, or you put it in the freezer and put it in a bag and put it in the freezer and didn't use it, mean that you cannot go out and spend money on it. That means if you have $30 in your bank account, you can't go out to dinner and spend $50. You can't go shopping and spend $50. So that's what I would suggest to you, is go put this in the freezer. You're living at home, you have low living expenses. The only thing you need right now is gas and groceries, and you need to be making more than $440 a month to cover that. So what I'd be doing if I was in your shoes is putting that credit card in the freezer or cutting it up, because looking at some of these transactions, we do have a problem when it comes to swiping the credit card.
Yeah.
So that means
I'm looking at the screenshot too. I'm like,
So we'll start with the most recent transactions.
You're looking at credit card or debit card, my dear?
We're looking at credit card. Credit card, we'll start from July 13th and kind of move forward. So
okay,
we've got Google Storage. We got Rite Aid for $114. That's a lot of money to spend at Rite Aid. $114.
Blood clot medication. My insurance wouldn't cover it.
Okay. Safety Park. What is that? Safety Park Remax?
It was a parking spot by the beach, like a parking lot.
That's an expensive parking lot.
Yep, there was no parking, and I was frustrated, and I just parked there.
Okay. Then we got the Waterfront. I'm assuming that's a restaurant for $19. Going out to eat, which is not in your best interest right now. AMC Online. Are you paying a monthly subscription to AMC, or are you going to the movies for $27?
I went to the movies.
Okay, so that's $27 there, and we got the eating out. That's $20 there. It's $47 in non-necessity spending right there. Then we got the best yet, Klarna, $74.25. What is that for?
For a music festival that I went to in the summer.
You financed going to a music festival. That is debt. That is just, yes, it is interest-free debt. Buy now, pay later is one of the worst things you can do. One, when you're in debt, and two, just ever, because it's just a terrible product. It's a great product in terms of getting people to buy stuff they can't afford, but I guarantee you want to spend that money, you had to pay cash for it back in the summer, because there's a reason you finance it. How much was the total purchase of it?
That music festival total, whatever, is 74 times 4, which is
$300 on a music festival, and finance it over the course of 4 months. Never a good idea to use buy now, pay later. It puts you in situations that, you think you can afford it. I guess when you purchase it, probably you still had your full-time job and you could have afforded it. Guess what? Circumstances change in life. It's the same thing with car payments. It's the same thing with just any debt that you take on. Is if that's a debt you have for 5 or 10 years or whatever it is, your circumstances are going to change in the next 5 years, 10 years. You might have emergencies. You might want to change of heart. You want to do something else instead. And locking yourself into guaranteed payments is never a good idea when it comes to different debt like that. And I'm just not a fan of buy now, pay later. And that's one that will just continue to cycle, because that's $74 a month that could be going towards paying off this credit card debt. But instead, you sacrifice the short term of going to a concert, your financial future. I mean, that's $300 that's 10% of your credit card debt gone right there, one transaction. So you're prioritizing the short-term satisfaction of music, concerts, which I want you to have fun in life. I do. But also I don't want you to be...
Oh, no. I understand, because my best friend, he used to work with me at the place I used to work at. He's still working there anyways. But it was so funny, because he was telling me how I influenced him to kind of live his life more. He was like, I always see you go out and have fun. And it kind of like reminded me, like, I don't have to stay at home all the time or do all of this. But now I want to remind you, you should do a little bit of what I used to do and like stay at home a little bit. And so don't worry. This is the thing. I've had these conversations before, but I continue to choose these short-term satisfactions. I mean, I don't know if this is like the right place, but like I'm like working through it in therapy, of like, why do I have this work hard, play hard mentality? Because then it really does leave me in balance in a lot of places. So Anyways.
No, and and that's the issue with social media. That's the issue with, frankly, I mean, I'm 26. It's our generation. It's like we want everything, we want it now, and we see people going out to eat. We see people going to festivals, and like, why can't we do that? Why can't I do everything? Why can't I? Everyone under the sun is in Italy this summer. Why can't I be spending $10,000 going to Italy for the summer? And you want it now, and that's the issue. Is a lot of people are living beyond their means. That's why credit card debt's at $1 trillion, because a lot of things you don't see are people financing. Same way, frankly, your friend saying, "Hey, I want to be like you, want to go out more." He might not understand the full picture. We got $3,000 with credit card debt. We got $30 in the bank account, and it looks pretty from the outside, but when you kind of look into it, it's like, okay, we need to solve this. We need to fix something. This must be another concert at the Rose Bowl, because I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That was a music festival I attended.
Okay, so that is the one you financed.
Yes, this is the drinks and food and merch from that day.
Okay, so we got 10 transactions there. We got Head in the Clouds, which is, I guess, a festival. That's another transaction for it. It's $130, but we got 35, 16, 23, 133, 33, 26, 36, 35, 65, 40, smoke shop. I mean, let's just add this up real quick. We got.
Hit me.
What do you think the total is for those just 2 days, 3 days?
Oh, I already knew it was at least like $1,500.
$1,500 total?
I think.
Where'd you get started? This one page is $430 or $453. And then, okay, I see there must be other transactions elsewhere on your debit card or something, but on that one sheet between the 7th to the 5th, it's $450. And then we have Klarna payment, $300.
Maybe I'm shooting it a little high, but I would assume so that's $400 plus the ticket for the festival. So maybe like more to like $800, $900.
So, okay, there's a third of our credit card debt gone basically right there if we forego the concert for the weekend.
Okay.
So now I see the other Klarna payment was this like a weekly Klarna payment? Oh no, I guess it's the 6th of July and then the 12th of biweekly. The 12th, they did another transaction for $74. Got a liquor store visit for $46. In-N-Out, Eating Out more for $11. AMC again, so you're a big movie person, $25. What is Nico?
That was a bar.
Okay, another bar. We got more Klarna for, what is a 79.50 cent transaction for Klarna on the 23rd of August?
I bought my mom a birthday present.
Is that a new transaction or is that one you made months ago?
This is a new transaction.
And what was the total purchase price of that?
$100 and something. I can look it up. He's so disappointed in me.
I am, because I can promise you, does your mother know your full financial situation, the credit card debt, and how much is in your bank account?
She does not. The prison isn't here yet, so she doesn't know anything about it. I'm pretty sure she's going to be very upset when I give it to her.
I was going to say, your mother loves you, and what she wants is to hang out with you and spend quality time with you. She doesn't want you to go finance $150 when you have $30 to your name. And that's the issue is a lot of people want to buy gifts for relatives or family members, and I'm all for buying people gifts if you can financially afford it, but when you're just doing this and digging yourself a bigger hole, it's just not smart. And if you really want to make their birthday, make their day, go hang out with them, go spend time with them, put an itinerary. We're going to go hiking and go do this and do stuff where I'm going to cook you a 5-course meal at home, whatever it might be. Do something that's within reason, that's cost efficient, and really what people want is just to hang out with you. They don't want material things. Majority of people, especially family and friends, they want quality time, not just materialistic stuff. So again,
we ended up doing both, but next year we'll just do one.
And it won't be the Klarna payment.
And it won't be Klarna. It will not be no more Klarna.
On this credit card for this last month, it's at least $300 in transactions on stuff that are just not necessities. I mean, we got 4 Klarna payments on here. We've got the music festival. We got the birthday present. We got eating out, bars. $1,000 right there, at least, going towards the credit card debt. It could instead, you're just racking up the credit card balance. Your interest charge was $73 on July 28th and $77 on August 28th. And again, it's just right now, looking at this is prioritizing the now versus your long-term satisfaction and health and financial well-being. Let's take a look at the debit card transactions. We got more smoke shops. We have more liquor stores for $50, for $40. We've got more Afterpay for $41. We're at more Affirm for $32. How many different Afterpay Affirm?
I checked this morning. I have 2 on Klarna and 2 on Afterpay.
What about Affirm?
Affirm's done. Should be paid off already.
Last transaction was yesterday?
Should be. I can check right.
What were those for?
Sorry, I was searching Affirm. One was for underwear and bras. The other one was for new bed sheets because mine ripped. One was my mom's present. The other one was for the ticket for the music festival.
If you want to improve your financial situation and well-being, you have to just make the choice. I know it's hard because it's like you want things, you want it now, but you have to make the decision. I'm not going to use this credit card ever again. And I'm not going to sign up or buy anything ever again with a buy now, pay later. Again, this is for this month is between all those hundreds of dollars of buy now, pay later transactions that can be going towards paying this debt off. And then once the debt's paid off, can be going towards savings so you can move out. And you're just never going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be financially able to afford any of that when we got spending habits like this. But it sounds like you said you've had this conversation with people before, but it just doesn't change any of your decisions. I mean, this is frankly after you quit your job, you haven't gotten the paycheck yet for the acting gig that should be about $2,700, and your spending is still kind of out of control, it seems.
Well, I got some of that payment. I didn't receive all of it. I got $2,000 already. And then I've got like supplement side gigs that I like made $50 cash, $150 this way, things like that. So I'm still waiting on that $3,150, the rest of that payment to come through to me. But I can't pay my agent and manager until I receive the full buyout. Or the full payment. So that $3,150 half of it will end up going to commission.
Yep.
The other half will go into my checking, and then hopefully by then I would have some interviews and things lined up, because that's what I'm planning to do after this is apply to jobs tomorrow, now that everything's updated on my resume and all of that stuff.
And you have to be making sure that you're setting aside money for taxes too. That's not even going to go in the checking account that you even have the ability to afford or to spend, because then August or April is going to come around next year, and if you don't set aside that money now, transactions that money's going to be gone real quick, and you have to make sure you're being very cautious with that, because the last thing I want you to do is show up April 15th and you owe $5,000 in taxes or whatever it might be, and you have to take out a loan for that, or you have to finance that with the IRS or on a payment plan. That's just not a situation you want to be in.
I have a random question. Every time I go on set, I have to do like that W-2 thing, tax form.
Yep.
Should I claim 0 or 1? Can someone please explain to me what is the best thing to do? Because every time I get this damn document and I'm on set, I always call my mom and I'm like, do I do 0 or 1? And she's like, it doesn't matter. Just put anything. So what is it?
Well, are you being paid as a contractor or payroll taxes?
It depends. Sometimes I'm W-2, sometimes I'm 1099, depending on the production and how they decided to hire.
Okay.
And onboard me for that specific project. So this last project that I did that has this $6,000 check, that is W-2. I filled out a W-2 form, but sometimes I am 1099. So it gets a little tricky, I guess.
I was assuming most of them are contract roles, but in terms of W-2, frankly, the whether it's a W-2, whether it's a 1099, whether it's anything tax related, is not the most straightforward thing in the world, and they make it more difficult to be. So I'm not going to give you the best answer. I can find you some resources.
No worries. I appreciate you being honest though, because that's
when it comes to tax documents, trust me, I've every single tax document I've ever turned in, I second guess every single thing I put on it, because I'm like, am I doing this right?
Great.
You're not alone in that.
Not alone.
Okay, other transactions we have on here. We have Bubs and Grand. What is that? We got $95 there. Again, stuff that could be going towards credit card debt. In-N-Out Burger, $20. Dodger Stadium, went to a game, it looks like.
I went to a concert.
A concert there. Okay, that's at least $90 there between those three transactions.
Trying to catch up. Okay, I think I know where you are.
On August 28th. So you made a credit card payment, it looks like, for $524. What is Blackpink?
That's the That's a K-pop group I saw.
So another concert.
No, that's the concert at Dodger
Okay,
Stadium.
okay,
That's the
so
same thing.
two,
That's the same thing.
so $200 at the concert. So between quitting your job and now, we've spent over $1,000 on concerts.
But that was already planned.
You still went.
I could.
You still went spend an extra $500 there at least. The drinks were not planned. The $113 at one bar that night was not planned.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
What is this purchase on the 28th for $98?
Tezubiki. It was a birthday dinner.
More eating out. We've got a bunch of different Zells on the 25th for $400 total. You got $121, you got $106, you got $200.
The Zell, the 400, my friend was giving me money for Blackpink because I paid tickets. Find the other one. The 121, me and my friends are selling shoes where we were gifted shoes from members when I used to work at that other place, but the shoes unfortunately do not fit me. So me and him are reselling them. So I gave him his half of the profit.
Okay.
The 200 I paid to my mom because she needed some help with money. The 106 I Venmo'd my friend incorrectly for when we were Venmoing tickets for the Blackpink tickets, something was miscalculated, so I had to send money back. So that's what all that is.
So I want to touch on one thing when it comes to your mom right there. So you sent her some money because you need help with money, but your parents are also currently paying for your car insurance and your car payment.
Correct.
So my thought and process would be like, over when you get a full-time job, you need to be figuring out a plan to take on those payments as well, because if they're asking you for money right now, that insurance payment probably is $150, $200 a month, and the car payment, a couple $100 a month, is definitely affecting them. And you need to figure out how can you take this over. Or the other route is, it's a nice car. It's a BMW, you said X1 2020. How many miles does it have on it?
No idea, Bailey. Sorry.
Well, we'll call it has 60,000 miles on it.
Yeah, the furthest place I've ever driven was to Palm Springs and Santa Barbara. That's it. So nothing too crazy.
Looking at Carvana or any of these websites, I mean, those cars are worth $25,000 to $30,000. This is an easy way to get out of debt. If you have a car, this is the last year of the car payment, that should be the balance of the loan is pretty low, if I had to guess. Then if it's the last year, maybe it's $3,000, maybe it's $5,000, but you have a $25,000 car, you could sell that tomorrow. You'd have $20,000 left over after you pay off the loan. Use that to pay off the credit card debt. Use that to buy a $10,000 or $12,000 car cash. It's not going to be a BMW. It's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world.
No.
It might be a Toyota. It might be a Hyundai, something that's 5 years old, but that's an easy way to take a couple $100 a month car payment off your parents. That's an easy way to either for them to have that cash to do what they want after getting another car. That's something for y'all to decide. But when it comes to, you can't sell credit cards, you can't sell student loans and get anything out of it. But cars are an option if you're not underwater on it, to sell it, take the remaining cash to buy another car, and then you have other funds after that to pay off debt, to use an emergency fund, whatever it might be. So I want to throw that option out there. Have a conversation with your mom about it, figure out what's left on the loan, figure out what's the car worth, and if you're to sell that, how much would be remaining after that. If it's $20,000, hey, could I use that to buy a $12,000 car, and the remaining $8,000 goes to your parents, or the remaining $3,000 of it goes to paying your credit card debt off, and then $5,000 to your parents, whatever you decide between y'all. But that is an option, an idea, because that is one thing that you should not be upside down in terms of the value of the car versus the loan payment. Have you thought about that before?
I've actually mentioned it to my parents, and I don't know why they prefer leasing cars. They just think it's a lot easier because then you can take it in.
But is it leased?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was finance. It's not finance, it's leased.
It's leased, and then we're going to buy it this year. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. I thought you took out a loan a couple years ago for it. But now the plan is to lease it, and then this year you're going to then finance it on a 5-year term after this and have another car payment for 5 years.
I think that's a conversation I need to have with my mom.
Yeah, yes, because car payments they're not fun. And if your parents are asking you for money right now and you don't have a job and you can't afford that car payment yourself, it shouldn't be happening. And so you need to be figuring out what is your options there. But car payments are running rampant in America right now. I mean, the average new car payment is like $700 a month. That is not a small amount binding me. Everyone wants to finance a new car. I mean, a BMW is a very nice car. And if you can't, my thought and process, if you can't buy a car cash, you can't afford it, because the issue is what people do is that, again, we're talking about the buy now, pay later, is you sign up for a car payment. Hey, I can afford it today, $300 a month. That's fine. I think I'm okay. 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now, you have a kid or you need to move or something, and you're locked into that payment for 5 or 6 years, however long you sign that loan for, and you can't get out of it unless you sell it or do something like that. And it just locks you into things, and it's just not fun or good to have. In the meantime, you should be figuring out, if you don't have a car payment, you can be investing that money. And if you don't have a car payment for always buy cars cash, and you start investing money, your financial health, your investments are going to grow tremendously versus having to pay money towards a loan every single month. So I'll send you some different resources on car payments, on financing cars. Dave Ramsey is one of my favorite when it comes to some of the information on that. I actually send videos of Dave Ramsey to friends, to family, on financing cars versus not financing cars, because I'm personally anti-financing cars, and I think it definitely just derails people. It makes them spend more money than they can afford, because I only have to spend $500 a month. I'll go buy a $30,000 car, when it's like you should not be anywhere in that ballpark. So that's something that needs to be a conversation that you have with your parents, because right now, if they're having issues, you're having issues with finances, it's not a good idea to, one, be buying a luxury vehicle, and two, financing a car. So something y'all discuss.
Yeah, it's just so hard to talk to them, but I need to do it. It's just, I didn't ask for a car. They just bought me a car, and then I told them to, so they work hard. They want to give it to me. I was grateful, but now that, the lease is running up, I'm really trying to decide, again, like you said, what is the right thing to do because of my financial state.
And you also want to make sure your parents are taking care of themselves. And if they're not saving money for their retirement, or they're not saving money for their livelihood, and they're stressing about money, it's just going to cause you more issues in the long term too, because you have to worry about them. And that's not a spot you want to be in. I know 20 years from now, parents are older, they might not be able to work. You don't want to have more financial stress from that too. So we're back. How to do a quick little change of scenes. But we're kind of going through different transactions here on your Wells Fargo account, and still kind of going through this. I see different things eating out. I see Harry Hahn. I don't know what Harry Hahn is. I see a liquor store on here for $49. I see Uber. We got a BMW out front, but we're Ubering right now. More smoke shop stuff on here. We got more In-N-Out, more DoorDash. You're DoorDashing and Chipotle online. I mean, that's $50 right there in that one day that you ate out.
I know that goes back to what we were talking about, like with doing self-tapes as an actor. Kind of a weird tangent, but I'm very thorough with my acting. Like, I have an audition tracker where you see the headshots, the casting company that called me, the email contact for it, because that's like free data for me, to kind of see what's booking, what is it. But I don't do that with my budget. I don't do that with my budget at all. And I really want to be more thorough with it and have that kind of eye. So anyways, I've done a lot of auditions in August. I have a bunch more to do tomorrow, actually. Well, that will be September 1st, but I got it this week. So far I'm already at 31 auditions, and I updated my audition tracker 2 weeks ago. So I have to update it again tomorrow on September 1st. And then, so at some points I'm doing 12 takes a day, and it's insane. And I don't want to cook. And even though I have the thing that I meal prep, it does not sound enticing as a thing that I know is, going a cookie or a Chipotle or an In-N-Out. So I really need to find better ways of working again, because I think I work too hard sometimes, and I think it affects how I view my life, how I spend the rest of my time, because then I'm like, oh, I've been working so hard. Let's go to a concert. Let's blow on it,
Yeah. No, and I get that. And I understand, working tired, stressed, want to just not cook, not do that. But maybe it's okay. We need to find recipes that entice you more to eat at home, that are easier to make. But and once you get out of debt, okay, great. Let's set up a food budget where you can spend this much money and you can do X, Y, and Z. But right now, when we're talking about $3,000 worth of credit card debt, that's not a spot where you should be spending money eating out. But once you get out of debt, okay, great. Let's start setting savings goals. Let's start setting budgets for eating out. and you can start enjoying the things you want in life. For me, Sadie, he's a personal finance writer and author, and he has what's called living your rich life, and it's cut costs on things you don't enjoy and spend money on what you do enjoy in life. But the issue with your situation right now is we have credit card debt we have to get rid of first, and then you can start allocating, okay, I want to spend my money on food, or I want to spend my money on traveling, or I want to spend my money getting an apartment. And you can start budgeting and allocating your stuff around that. But it's very difficult to live your rich life when you got $3,000 worth of credit card debt, you got $30 in your bank account. That's not a rich life because you're stressed about money.
It's a broke life.
It is a broke life. And we're with this transactions.
It's a fun one, but it's a broke one.
Anxious one. It might be fun until you look at your credit card bill at the end of the day. If you can spend money with no care in the world, never have to pay it back, and have unlimited money, yeah, that could be fun. But when you look at the true reality, that's not the reality, is you got to pay it all. And it's just hurts you mentally. It hurts your financial future. It hurts your partner one day. It hurts your kids one day. And just need to change that now. The beautiful thing is you're young right now. And I mean, going through the transactions again, we have more Afterpay. We have more Rose Bowl stuff. I guess so this is where the other hundreds of dollars came from, is you put some money on your debit card and you put other on the credit card. So I only saw the credit card first, but now we got stuff on the debit card for the Rose Bowl, for the Ubers. We got $111 Uber or Lyft while we're there. We got other Ubers. We got more In-N-Out burgers while we're there. We got more Ubers. I don't even know what this $100 payment was. We've got cash.
Where are you?
I'm on August 7th now. We got a $100 payment on August 7th.
August 7th, $100 payment. I see the Uber ride. That was 111. That was a mess.
Next page, the 8th page.
Oh, I see it. That's my therapy. Okay. I see a therapist weekly for $100.
Okay, so need to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Which that's not in the budget. Right now we have $100 in health and fitness, and the budget is $400. Then if you're spending $400 on therapy, which I'm all for a therapist, but.
Oh, you're right. I did not calculate that correctly in a month.
So that's 100%. See a therapist. You need to take care of yourself mentally and physically. But you need to be making sure that you have an account for that in your budget.
Yeah, well, I actually I attend an acting class every Sunday. That's $200 a month. But my teacher is going back to Armenia for a vacation, so we don't have class in September. So I actually am thinking of not seeing my therapist for the month of September because I haven't had any. The reason why I started was because I was having suicidal thoughts and having multiple panic attacks a day to the point where it was affecting my work. One of my coworkers found me in the bathroom having a panic attack while I was closing. And that's kind of when I was like, oh shit, something's really wrong with me because it's affecting me at work and I'm making other people at work worry about me. So I'm okay now, which is great. I still have anxiety, but I'm on meds and whatnot. So I haven't had a panic attack. I think not a full-fledged one was probably last year. I do have little moments, but now I have coping mechanisms to help me and not get to that point. So I'm thinking as I'm searching for a new job and applying that I might not visit him during September just so I can budget a little better. And that way I don't have expenses on acting. I don't have expenses on, other things, just truly just groceries and gas and not going to concerts. And hopefully that month will kind of help me. I don't know. I'm just thinking out of my mind.
I'm not a therapist. I think saving the money on the acting class with them gone, I think it's great. $200. The therapy, I'm glad you're doing better now, but that's not something I would personally say. I would keep it.
I'm gonna talk to my therapist. I'm seeing him tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Maybe he says we'll cut it to 3 times a month versus 4 or whatever it is, but I would definitely not get rid of it completely. So, because you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're going to be going through interviews with jobs. You're going to be going through acting stuff. You're going to have stress. You're going to have stuff in your life. You're going to be trying to pay off debt, which is not also an easy thing. It is a stressful thing too. So definitely please just make sure you're taking care of yourself there. But back to the expenses we have, again, which I think getting out of this situation will also help you with your anxiety, help you with your stress, because you won't have to worry about finances much if you are taking care of yourself financially. And I mean, again, we got more Chipotle. We have, so you do have Rocket money. but you must not use it.
I was using it for a while and then I canceled it and then I was like, should I have canceled it? So it did help me. Well, I didn't really use it. I just kind of I'm so sorry, Bailey. I was watching a YouTube video and it was like a sponsored ad and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea to start budgeting. And then I downloaded the app and I was gonna start inputting things on it and then it just never happened. And then I was like, I have the.
Let me tell you what I use. I use men.com. It is free. I'll send you a link to it after this. Don't have to pay $3 a month. It's really easy to set up on your computer. It has a mobile app, but it's easier to set up on the computer in terms of budgets and everything.
Oh, okay.
I think it's great. I use it. I've been using it for like 5 or 6 or 7 years, however long. I think 2016 is probably when I started using it. Look at every single week with my wife on Sundays typically, and make sure we're on track for that month in terms of our different budgets or different goals. But free, easy to use. Definitely something you need to get back to. So, but I mean, my thought and I guess ideas for you right now, given your current situation, given your current just everything, is like, first and foremost, even though you don't have a full-time job right now, you need to be budgeting and tracking every single expense, because the money's going to go just as quickly as it comes in with this next acting payment you're still waiting for these other gigs. You have to start budgeting now. A lot of people wait until they make more money. They're like, oh, I'll start budgeting when I make more money. But the reality is, I think 49% of Americans making over $100,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. So it's typically not a money problem. It is a budgeting and spending problem. Same way with the last 2 years, you've been making $42,000, probably taking home about $3,000, living at home, very low fixed expenses, but we still have ourselves in $3,000 worth of credit card debt. So the issue on that wasn't necessarily an income problem, because your expenses shouldn't have been that high, but the issue was a spending problem, going to these concerts, financing stuff, and spending just well above your means. So first and foremost is you need to be budgeting, set a plan with that, cutting every unnecessary expenses, no cons. And it's not going to be that long of a time period. If you get a full-time job, you can get out of this debt within 2 months, maybe even a month.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, when I think that's why I was so pissed when they were like, oh, don't come back. I was like, what the hell? You said it was a no rush exit. Like, I was like, I was going to get some money, pay off my debt, and like, but it didn't work out, and that's fine. And it's a learning lesson, because obviously life is going to throw shit at you, and you need to be able to have backup and have cushion. And like, as someone who wasn't able to walk for 2 months because of my blood clot, like, I'm just really trying to recenter. So yes, I need to
budget your spending. I would cut up the credit card, because guess what? That's going to require you to not send money you don't have in your bank account. Or if you don't want to cut it up, put it in the freezer, so you literally can't touch it, can't use it. You can't take it out to the restaurants. You can't take it out in shopping. Can't access it online. But again, just having a credit card is he just threw it away. Threw it behind her. I love it. But that, just take it out of the wallet. It requires you to not, or requires little effort to do that, but it'll go a long way making you second guess. Should I buy this? Do I actually need this? Do I need to go spend $50 on a liquor store? Do I need to go spend $50 at a smoke shop? Do I need to spend $50 on Amazon? Whatever it might be. And then lastly is, got to get after it with finding a job. And you set a deadline for September 1st. September 1st is in 3 hours on the East Coast now. So you got 6 hours on the West Coast. So tomorrow you need to start getting after it. Apply to as many jobs a day. It can't just be one job a day. It can't just be one job a week.
Oh, no.
It's got to be applying to everything and anything you can find, remote, stuff in person, stuff that you think might be a stretch for you, might be a little bit level, just to find a stable paying job. And it might not be your dream job. And I'm all for get a job. If it's the first paying job, you can continue interviewing for other places. If you get another one in 2 or 3 months after, that's more of a dream job. But right now you need income, because understand you want to pursue acting, but you need stability too if you ever want to move out on your own. And until you kind of build up your acting portfolio more, until you build up the consistency there, then it's going to be very difficult to do that. So you really just need to be budgeting, tracking your expenses, stop spending on a credit card, and then finding a new opportunity to make more money. So the beautiful thing is, and then after that, we can start thinking about investing. But right now, don't even think about investing. Don't even think about how to do that until we get out of debt. And then once you do that, save up an emergency fund, typically like 3 to 6 months of expenses, what's most people suggest. I like being on the higher end of the 6+ months. But that way you can build up an emergency fund, a base for you to go and decide when you want to go rent. But you don't want to be moving out to a place to rent if you have no money in your bank, because say you don't get acting gigs at job, or say you have to quit your other job, or whatever it might be, you leave yourself in a very difficult situation. So if you have 6 months of runway, given an emergency and something happens, or your car needs new tires, or whatever it might be, you have the money and funds to be able to pay for it. So get out of the debt, start building up an emergency fund, and then you can start deciding, okay, I once have an emergency fund, what are my options here for rent? How can I live below my means with getting an apartment, probably having roommates in LA, because LA is very expensive, but finding something that is affordable within your budget ballpark, and then start thinking about, okay, now investing for the long term. I mean, you're still young and have plenty of time in terms of setting yourself up for retirement and investing for the future. And then you can start learning more about index funds, investing into a Roth IRA or into 401ks if your companies have it. And that will just allow you to start building wealth for the long term. So I do have one question for you. Do you have much familiarity with investing or knowledge of investing?
Siri came on. I don't know why. Please leave. No, go away. No. I do not. I used to hang out with these friends, not so much anymore, because they were the friends who would encourage me to go out and go to concerts and drink and spend. But that's because they're actual, business people. They work a 9 to 5. They make over 100K, So I would always hear them talking about investing and like try to pick up and learn from them. But I was never financially in a place where they were. So I was like, I wasn't really taking it all in, because I was like, this doesn't really apply to me, but I'm here with you guys, so I'll just listen and chime in if I have an opinion type of vibe.
I'll send you some different resources on investing. But in short, in my opinion, the best way to invest is in index funds. There's single stocks that you can buy. You can buy a share of Apple, or you can buy an index fund, which think of it as a basket of stocks where you might own 3% of one company, 2% of another company, 1% of another company. So it de-risks you instead of putting all your eggs in one basket and that company goes to zero. Something happens there, then you have all your risk on that single company versus, okay, you buy an index fund that's 500 companies. You got 500 companies that if one of them goes to zero, guess what? It's not going to affect you. So index funds allow you to de-risk and kind of track the market, because I'm not the next Warren Buffett. You're not the next Warren Buffett, because we're not going to outperform the market. So it's better to put ourselves in situations that we can match the market versus trying to beat it, because 9 times out of 10, we're going to underperform and lose money trying to day trade or trade single stocks. So
yeah, I don't think GameStop is gonna happen to me anytime soon or anything like that. So just a nice, healthy investment in the future when we do another check-in, but not right now.
But I really do just appreciate you coming on here today, being open, honest, and transparent. I know you were nervous coming in here today, because I commend you for coming on here. You emailed me multiple times saying you're excited but nervous because you want to learn. And that's what my goal for this is for you to learn. There's people out there in this world that are in the exact same situation as you. They find themselves in credit card debt, find themselves in jobs that are toxic, find themselves trying to pursue passions and not knowing where to go. And want you to know you're not alone. Want everyone watch this to know they're not alone in their financial situation. Credit card hit debt at $1 trillion in America. And there's just a lot of things that are not going right in the financial world in America. And that's why I started the show, because I want people to learn. I want people to be more educated on money. And just hoping this was beneficial for you to just talk about finances more. I'm hoping that also you some resources for you to learn from, for you to start taking action, budgeting, educating yourself with finances. I mean, that's the best way to do it, to start finding some different individuals that you can learn from that are trustworthy. I'll link you some. I mean, Dave Ramsey's great. Ramit Sethi's great. Money with Katie's great. There's a lot of different people out there that put out good content that allows you to educate yourself more about money, because whether people want to pay attention to their money or not, it's going to happen. They're going to have expenses. They're going to have income. Money is required to live in this world. And unless you decide to educate yourself and take control of your own money, it's never going to happen, because no one's going to change your life financially unless you decide to do it yourself. So I have 2 final questions for you before we wrap up here. First is, can you remember the moment when you realized you're in financial trouble?
The first thing I think of is being at my old workplace and feeling so overworked, but yet struggling to pay for my acting class. And I was like, something's not right. I'm not doing something right. I need to figure it out. I think that was like a real first time that I was like, "Ah, shit." Um, and then also just I don't know, the pandemic too was real tough. I had to look up so many PPP loans and just fighting to get any sort of stability for my parents and to help them with their business. So I think those are the two things that come to my mind.
What advice would you give to someone in a similar position as you?
Budget. Budget, and I mean, I always knew I had a spending problem, but I never really took a hard look at it. I think if you have someone trustworthy or if you trust yourself to be unbiased, like really look at what your transactions are, what you're spending. That way you can have a real image and idea of what's happening. And just because you swipe a card doesn't mean it's done. There's effects, there's cause and effects to it, so really take the time to look at what you're spending at and take the time to budget. I think that's like a very good place to start in anyone's financial journey, and a good place for me to start too.
100%.
And I will be starting there.
Awesome. Well, Pan, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for coming on here, being open, honest, and transparent. And wishing you all the best in your financial journey. I'm here to be a resource for you. I'm going to send you a bunch of resources, and I hope we can do a check-in 6 to 12 months from now, get an update on you on your new job, how your acting's going, hopefully being debt-free the next time we talk. And really do just appreciate you coming on here and chatting today.
Thank you. Bye.